Bethan's Kitchen and Garden. Today I'm in the kitchen and I'm going to be making a rhubarb ice cream. Now I haven't made this before, so I thought I'd share it with you as I go along. This recipe came from the Tesco's website and I heard about it through Jen's Allotment Adventures when I was watching her channel the other day. She was telling me that she was going to make rhubarb ice cream and where I could find the recipe. So I thought, oh, well, that sounds a good idea. I'll go online and do something productive with all the rhubarb I've got. So let's have a look at the ingredients we need for this and then let's get on and make it. For this recipe, you will need 500 grams of rhubarb, 75 millilitres of whole milk, 180 millilitres of caster sugar, 250 millilitres of double cream, 3 egg yolks separated from the egg white, 125 millilitres of water and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So those are the ingredients you will need, but what I should have mentioned earlier was that for this recipe I will be using an ice cream maker because I have an ice cream maker. But if you don't have an ice cream maker, and I've made ice cream this way before, put it into a Tupperware container that you'll put in your freezer. Put it into your freezer and then every 30 minutes, so set a timer on your watch, and every 30 minutes go into the freezer and just give that ice cream a bit of a stir around. And the first time you do it, it'll be really soft set, it'll hardly be set at all. And then after an hour it'll begin to set, and after another hour and a half it'll be there. And then probably after about 2 hours, it sounds a bit laborious, but it's not. You only got to pop into your fridge, into your freezer every half an hour to just give the ice cream a stir. And what that does is it just stops any ice crystals forming in your ice cream, so you should have smooth ice cream. And that's how I used to make it before I had an ice cream maker. But I'm going to use the ice cream maker today, so I'll show you that method as well as we go along. So to start with, we need to mix the cream and the milk in a pan together and bring it to a boil. So once the milk and ice cream is in the pan, give it a stir around and wait till it comes to the boil. Also, whilst it's coming to the boil, add a teaspoon of your vanilla extract. It's coming to the boil now, so I'll just remove that from the hob and set to one side. Next, whisk together the egg whites and 60 grams of the caster sugar until the mixture is thick and creamy. Then add the cream and the milk to the mixture. Pour it in quite slowly so you try not to curdle the egg yolks. And let's hope it works all right. think that looks okay at the moment. So then you pour this back into the saucepan and put it all on a low to medium heat and stir with a wooden spoon for about 6 to 8 minutes until the ice cream, or until the custard rather, coats the back of a wooden spoon. So while the custard is thickening, I'm going to get on with the rhubarb. So I'm going to add the rhubarb, the caster sugar, the remaining caster sugar, the water and the vanilla extract. And I'm going to bring this to a simmer whilst keeping an eye on this custard. So as the rhubarb comes to a simmer, I'll just give it a stir around and then lower the heat to a medium temperature, and then I'll let the rhubarb simmer away until it's soft. All the while, of course, stirring my custard. And I think I'll just put a lid on the rhubarb, which will help it cook quicker. So the rhubarb is simmering away quite nicely, and I think this custard is done now. So let's just check the back of the spoon. I mean, it looks nice and thick. It's a bit hard to tell because it's got so much froth, but if I do that and try a bit, it's gorgeous. But if you can see, there's a line, a definite line there. So I think that's thick enough now. So we'll transfer that to another bowl, which will stop the cooking process, because if it cooks much more, it's likely to split. So we'll put it back in the bowl from earlier, but I have cleaned it out. I'll scrape the bowl out a bit better in a minute, but I'll just set that to one side now to cool down. And just give this another little stir. Doesn't actually take long for rhubarb to soften down. Nice. So the rhubarb is fairly soft now. So I'm going to transfer the fruit from the rhubarb I mean, it does say to then reduce the liquor that's left by half, but I don't know, it all looks quite lumpy to me, as in there's no liquid left, it's just going to be all rhubarb, all sort of stewed fruit really. Yeah, this is all I'm left with, so I'm not going to bother to reduce that anymore. I'll end up just burning the mixture, so I'm going to put it all into the bowl and then mash it all together and strain it through a sieve. So I'm just pushing it all through the sieve, so you end up with a rhubarb puree underneath Right, let's have a little, this is all quite sludgy. But that will be lovely on some low-fat natural yogurt, or full-fat natural yogurt for breakfast in the morning. So don't throw that away. Keep that to one side. Get all the stuff off the bottom. Right, so that's what you're left with. A sort of, well, a runny puree really. So I've now got my custard and my rhubarb puree, and the recipe says to put the custard into the ice cream maker and churn it for about 10 minutes and then add the rhubarb puree. But if you were making it, like I suggested, just in a Tupperware where you're going to mix it around every 30 minutes, your best bet is probably to just wait until that puree is really cool and the custard's really cool, and then mix the two together and then put it in the freezer and do the 30-minute thing. That's what I would do if I was doing it that way. But let's go and put the custard in the ice cream maker and see what's occurring. So with my ice cream maker, you have to leave the bowl in your freezer for about 12 hours to really cool, and then you put that in, that over the top, and what happens is the bowl turns and the paddle stays static. That's what should happen. So if I turn it on now, this is a real racket. So I usually put it as far away from me as I possibly can, which is usually in the conservatory. But my children are having a sleepover in my husband's office down the garden tonight, because they wanted to go on a camping trip and we can't go anywhere. So they've decided to go down there, which they're really excited about. So I can make as much noise in the house now as I want because I'm here by myself. Right, so I'll put this on, and then I'll put the custard in here for about 10 minutes, and then I'll add the rhubarb puree. So it's been on for about 20 minutes now, so I'm going to just try it first. Yeah, you should give this a go. It's I was expecting it to be like a rhubarb and custard sweet, but it's got more creaminess. You can really taste the cream in it, and then there's a sort of like, it's not too sweet and it's not too sour. It's as rhubarb should be, if you know what I mean, or at least how I think rhubarb should be. It's very, very nice, very indulgent. I'm going to put it into some Tupperware now, and then I'll have a little chat with you after I've done that. So that's what it's looking like at the moment. Yum, yum, yum. It's quite soft set, but that's because I took it out of the ice cream maker earlier, just to make it easier to transfer it from the ice cream bowl into the Tupperware. So I really hope you give this ice cream a go, because it really is worth it. It's It's really yummy and indulgent without being too sickly, too sweet. And it has a little bit of a sharpness to it as well. And the best thing is, my children and my husband don't really know what I've been up to in here. So I could just eat the whole pot and they'd never know. No, I won't do that. I'll put it in the freezer and we can all enjoy it tomorrow, when I suspect I'll be making another batch because it might all be gone. And on saying that, it might be worth doubling up the recipe because it has made a fairly small amount and you will want a lot of this. So please give this recipe a go and I hope you enjoy it. All I can say about that recipe is it was a lovely job. Thank you for watching.